Anyone who's watched the anime will know this particularly blocky KBT very, very well. It is KBT03 Kantaros, with a kit of missile, rifle, Gatling, biped legs, and the trigger-happy leg ability, which buffs his base damage for every critical hit scored by a shooting attack. Now, we have honestly seen Kantaros before in previous events, of course, as a enemy NPC, but this is his official grand debut as a pullable model in the gacha, making his grand debut all the same. His kit honestly does remain largely similar to most other members of the KBT family, so there really isn't a whole lot to say on him honestly, as his performance will be very largely similar to them. Missile, of course, is a gunpowder-based skill that's an AoE, meaning it will damage all parts equally and spread the damage among them. Right arm of rifle is your conventional shooting attack, meaning there's no major drawback or disadvantage to using it, and it's a very well-balanced shooting skill for this very reason. Gatling, for the equally same reason, is another conventional shooting attack, but the difference is instead of pierce damage, it is a scattered AoE, meaning it will damage one part normally at normal damage, and then two others at random at 1/3 of your additional damage on top of that. Of course, the only thing that really sets Kantaros apart here is his leg ability of Trigger Happy, which honestly does kind of help him stand out in comparison to, say, Metabe with Charge Shot, to kind of help him stand apart. While even though Kantaros' leg ability is rather conditional to him scoring crits, with the success rate on his rifle of 1221, I really don't think he's going to have too much of an issue with that. His armor is honestly pretty solid across the board too, about 3250 for his head, about 3,000 per arm, 3,200 for his legs, and his leg stats are honestly pretty nice too, despite being a dominant shooter type. Base mobility of 780 is in that higher sweet spot of where you'd want a good biped leg to be at. Evade of 1078 is also really nice too, meaning he shouldn't have too much of an issue dodging attacks that are very low success, or especially if there's not anything holding him down or preventing him from dodging. Melee resist of 655 isn't all that great either, but kind of par for the course with KBTs, as they really don't do well in close quarters, but rather excel at long-range combat, where in this reason his shoot resist is just shy of about 1100 here, which he does make up for pretty nicely. But across the board, like I said, he really doesn't differ in comparison to most other KBTs, so there really isn't anything much more to say on him for this very reason. But for that being said, I do have to rate him at a pure set score and a pretty solid 7 out of 10 for what he offers. He's very well balanced in his shooting kit, nothing really to hold him back or really serve as a detriment to his overall performance. Base power really isn't his mastery either, more along the lines of like your auxiliary shooter, but this is something he does make up for, especially with the Trigger Happy ability, which can make his bullets a little more powerful per hit once he starts landing those critical hits. For this reason as well, as mixed parts, I do have to rate him a little higher at a 7.5 out of 10, given that even though Missile may not be the most useful part on him, given that AoEs are rather tricky to make use of conventionally, his rifle and his legs especially will probably be your best friends if you do get a hold of his parts. It is also worth noting, for sake of mentioning it, that Kantaros will not be available in any limited pickup banner or the standard pool. Rather, he will be available permanently in the PvP gacha pool, meaning in order to pull his parts, you will be forced to have to participate each week in the weekly Meta League PvP, where you earn tickets based on your combat rank. So of course, the more that you participate and the higher rank you score, meaning the more tickets you get and the more chances you get at snagging Kantaros. But with that being said, and all the same, even though his performance is relatively similar, this is something that he can take in stride and definitely offer more of a conditional damage buff to if you can meet that requirement all the same.